Hello everyone, JG here, and welcome to part 17 of the Blizzard Audiobook series. If you'd like to follow along, there's a link to Blizzard in the description. All that being said, let's get started. Act 16, The Kitsune and the Dragon. Meanwhile, from a nearby cliff facing the city from across an ocean, Esther and Rex were watching the city's destruction unfold as Karol sat unconscious and shivered by a tree. "This is horrifying," Rex said. "It is," Esther agreed. "It's like it's our fault, and there's nothing we can do about it," Rex sighed as he turned around. "What is that?" Esther turned around and she saw a bright, circular, white light descending out of the clouds and landing in front of them. It hovered in front of them for a few moments, and they stared at it, giving them the feeling of true peace and warmth. Esther remembered that feeling. But suddenly, the light grew in brightness, and Esther and Rex covered their eyes as they were enveloped. Esther shut her eyes. After a few moments, Esther opened her eyes and saw she was lying down in a beautiful garden with Rex asleep next to her. She could not help but look at him for a few moments. She then got a good look of the area and saw that trees and flowers were everywhere, birds were singing, and the waves crashed against the nearby cliff. But it still had to be the same place though, because it was still the same cliff looking over the ocean, although the city on the other side disappeared and was replaced by a lush forest. When Rex woke up, he was just as surprised as Esther was. "Where are we?" "I think we are still in the same place. The cliff is the same. I think we were just transported back in time somehow." Karol was sitting by the tree, and his countenance did not change. He was still cold, unconscious, and in a state of stress. The cat and Panda looked up, and they saw another peaceful light descending toward them of a more yellowish color. It landed in front of them and faded away, revealing none other than the Kitsune. Esther and Rex stood up in shock, and the Kitsune, in a clear, calm, soothing voice, said, "Hello, my name is Kitsuneko." You're the fox from the mural!" Rex shouted with glee. "I am," the Kitsune replied, "although I am not a fox. I am a Kitsune." "Right," Rex remembered. 9 tails, red energy, all that. "Thank you so much," Esther said. "I don't know where I'd be without you." "You are most welcome," the Kitsune replied. "I'm just glad you got my message and listened." "Did you bring us here?" Esther asked. "You had to be brought back to a safer time in order to speak with you," the Kitsune replied. "Where exactly are we?" Rex asked. "We are in the same place you once were, but thousands of years before anything was built," Kitsuneko replied. "Why did you want to speak with us?" Esther asked. "Because if you are not aided by me, your mission will fail," the Kitsune said. "Our mission already failed," Rex said sadly. "The dragon is out and the world is being destroyed." "It was inevitable the dragon would escape," Kitsuneko said. "Your true mission is to kill it, once and for all." "What do you mean it was inevitable the dragon would escape?" Rex asked. "In order for me to answer that question, I must start at the beginning. A long time ago, there was a group of creatures created by the light to help govern the world. There were about 7 of us. We lived in a white palace on a floating island far above civilization, which was very primitive at the time. We were a very diverse group. We had a unicorn, a griffin, a phoenix, and even a beautiful moth. But none were as powerful as the dragon. Trekton was his name. Yes, he is the same dragon who is now wreaking havoc on the world. But he was very different back then. Instead of having scales as black as his soul, it was a pure glowing white with yellow on his underside. Trekton had a beam of light blue that could heal even the most injured creature, which was how he helped us in our mission. Now in the center of our meeting place there was a large purple crystal that held great power, for its strength kept the island in its place in the air. In all of our meetings, I always saw Trekton greedily eyeing it, but he never said nor did anything. Eventually, though, we all noticed Trekton's secret desire. So it did not come as much as a surprise that, as one meeting was in progress, Trekton suddenly snapped and jolted toward the glass container in the middle of our table, as all the rest of us got out of our seats and tried to stop him. We prevailed at first, but his strength was simply too great, and he was able to break open the container and lay his claws on the crystal. When he grabbed it and absorbed it, his whole body was burnt. He groaned with agony as his scales were transformed into his infamous black and gray, and his eyes turned purple. He tried shooting one of his healing beams again to heal his own body, but as he tried it, his eyes turned a dead black, and he shot out a beam of said color. He immediately got addicted to that feeling of power, so he tried shooting that beam at us. He shot the unicorn and he fell on the floor dead, his soul ripped directly out of his body. The rest of us began our charge again, when suddenly the island was split in 2. The temple was cracked in half and we began to plummet at a great speed toward the ground. Trekton realized this and took off. The rest of us followed him, but he was soon out of sight. Most of us could fly, so they all wished me good luck and they took off. The moth remained with me though. She tried to lift me off but wasn't able to due to her size. I told her to go, but one of us survived the none, and she took off with a look of regret on her face. I was now stuck there, bracing for impact and death. I never saw any of my old friends again after that day. I, however, would not accept my fate so easily. I knew that death was certain if I stayed aboard that sinking ship, so I leapt off, encasing myself in a protective light shield. I hoped and prayed that I would survive the fall. Surely enough, I did survive and landed in a snowy taiga forest, gravely injured. I lay there, freezing and motionless for a while, until I was picked up by a group of Arctic foxes on their way home. They brought me to their village, warmed me up, and fed me. I was in their debt. In return for their kindness, I pledged to protect their village for a year. I did so, and I got to know the inhabitants well, and I grew great fondness for those foxes. The Kitsune looked at Karol. She continued, After a year, I departed from their village, and I lived as a wandering protector, still trying to fulfill my mission to help the world grow. Once, as I was walking around a forest filled with dead trees which I had never been to before, I was jumped by 3 corrupted animals, a hedgehog named Spike, along with 2 rabbits. I set them free with my mystical light powers, the only thing that can free someone from corruption, or even combat it effectively. This is because all of the creatures who live on the island in the sky had the same creator, and he made us so that our powers could keep each other in check in case one turned evil. Since the corruption comes from Tracton, my powers can easily combat it. I suppose that if any of my old friends are still alive, they could do damage to Tracton as well. At the time, however, I had no idea what caused the corruption, so I asked the hedgehog, both rabbits had already fled once I set them free, how he came to be in that state. He told me that he was journeying near a dark castle because of reports of citizens of his village going missing. Then he encountered a huge black dragon who shot him with a purple beam. That was the last thing he remembered before falling unconscious. I asked him if he could take me there, and he nodded yes. As he led me to the castle, I noticed that the surrounding terrain grew darker and darker on the ground. The trees grew completely black, and the sky was covered with clouds shooting down purple lightning. Eventually, we arrived at a great cliff, and the great black castle was in sight. It lay across a hideous, lifeless plain, and it was built out of pitch-black stones and in front of a mountain range. That, said the hedgehog, is where I encountered the dragon. Suddenly, we felt a great gust of wind, and we saw a huge shadow fly out of the lair, heading straight towards us. This was none other than Tracton, purple energy surrounding him. He flew in front of the cliff we were standing on and overlooked Spike and I. Spike stood in front of him and tried to guard me. He thought I needed his protection, despite his seemingly lack of powers. I admired his courage. I stepped in front of the hedgehog, and I asked the beast, You? You are Tracton?
Kitsune,
the dragon roared.
How nice of you to visit me. I thought all of you perished for the island.
What happened to you? I asked.
I'm just continuing my mission of fixing the world,
the dragon replied. Huh? I asked. What are you doing, and what did you do to this poor hedgehog?
I fixed him,
the dragon replied sickly. By turning into a mindless drone? I asked.
Yes, the
dragon boomed.
They are mindless slaves that can follow my commands more easily. Since I know what is best, they need not question my orders or anything I do to them. Soon the whole world will be perfect, just like my kingdom here.
I was disgusted by this creature's lack of compassion and respect.
I assumed you came here to join my ranks,
Tracton asked. I am here to put an end to your reign of terror.
That's too bad. We could have used someone like you.
The purple in the dragon's eyes grew brighter.
Oh well.
Then he shot a powerful purple beam at us, but I used my light energy to shield myself and the hedgehog. I knew my shield wouldn't last forever, so I used my teleportation ability in order to get Spike and I out of there. We teleported to a nearby village from whence the hedgehog came. I had told them that a great danger was soon coming, and they had to be ready to fight. Thanks to Spike and I, the village listened, and they geared up for war. That same night, an army of about 100 husks arrived at the village. We were ready with our strategy, which was for the ordinary people to knock the husks down, while I, being the only one who could cure them, would do so while they lay motionless. The strategy proved very effective, and by sunrise, the whole army was cured. During the battle, Spike fought bravely, and I found out that he had some strange powers regarding the corruption, but you'll find out about that soon enough. Anyway, after the battle, I realized that these people were not safe here, so I told them they should gather all the people from nearby villages and create a kingdom in the naturally protected mountains. They all agreed, and after a long perilous journey of gathering villagers and traversing, they found the perfect place, an opening in the mountains encircling a forest. This kingdom, known as Bioveria, is a present-day forgotten kingdom. After a few years of building, Bioveria was complete, and I ruled as queen with Spike as my right hand. We lived in peace for a few months until some of the dragon's legions found our kingdom, and we had to fight them off. We continued fighting him for many years, trying to free the world of his corruption, but it was futile. Soon, the only safe haven in the land was Bioveria. Then, one afternoon, a citizen arrived and warned us that the dragon emptied out his black castle and was sending all his armies to our kingdom. Even the dragon himself was going, hell-bent on taking us down. I told the citizens of the town that Trakton was coming to the village, and that there was little to no chance of beating his army of thousands. Whoever wanted to leave could leave freely and try to start a life in this corrupted world, and whoever wanted to stay and fight could do so. Spike led the villagers in their answer. "We will die for you." They wanted to repay me for all the kindness I've showed them. I'm forever in their debt. We waited for the arrival of the armies, and soon enough the hosts started pouring over the mountainside with Trakton at the helm. They laid siege to the city, crippling everyone they could. As purple beams shot out from the ground, we fought our hardest to delay the inevitable. The city crumbled to ruins as the fighting raged on, and the dragon and I dueled in the center of the city. Such a battle was never seen before, and will likely never be seen again. However, it was not a fair fight. The dragon's strength far exceeded my own. I knew it would fall with the kingdom if its people and I didn't do something fast. Then I remembered my ultimate power. I could seal this dragon in an artifact, ending the battle. I used all my strength to accomplish this, and once I did so, I expired. "Wait," Rex interrupted. "If you're dead, how are we talking to you?" "I'm getting to that," the Kitsune replied sternly. She continued, "When I sealed away Trakton, all the corruption ceased in the world, setting all of Trakton's armies free. Together, my kingdom and the dragons started BioVaria anew under the leadership of Spike. They sealed the artifact where the dragon was sealed deep underground in a dark dungeon, and they locked it with two items functioning as keys, the dragon key and the Malaxium, that they hid so as to make getting the artifact almost impossible. They sealed the artifact where the dragon was sealed deep underground in a dark dungeon, and they locked it with two items functioning as keys, the dragon key and the Malaxium, that they hid so as to make getting to the artifact almost impossible. But since it was fated that Trakton should be free again, I was sent back to warn people in visions. I told them that the dragon would break out of the ground with purple beams, corrupting the world, and that I would return with 3 heroes, one of which would be an Arctic fox with ice powers to fight the dragon. I told them to write murals on the walls of many different locations, so that none of their descendants would ever forget. The artifact was never a permanent fix, for someone much stronger than I could not be contained by me alone. The only way to permanently destroy the dragon was if I delayed the fight until now. I was sent back now to help Karol. The powers he can use are the only ones that can directly combat the dragon, so if he falls, the world does with him." "What happened to him?" Esther asked. "He looks unconscious, but he feels dead." "Karol," said Kitsune, "is on the border of being corrupted by his use of the black ice, powers that were given to him by Trakton when he was young in order to corrupt his powers and kill him by driving him mad and sending him to kill a great warrior, almost impossible to beat. This warrior, despite his history, had pity on Karol and helped him renounce the black ice, but Karol reawakened it due to him losing control of his emotions. Now he is trapped in the corrupted world, a vast world where the dragon's soul went while he was in the artifact. That place contains the souls of those who are now husks, and they are being tormented with extreme pains. Karol, being on the border of being corrupted, must navigate his way through this world before it is too late, and the world and his soul are lost forever. I will go to him and guide him on this journey, but he needs some help from the outside." "What must we do?" Esther asked. "You, my child, must go find a crystal from the bottom of the sea," the Kitsune said. "Go to the harbor nearest to the city. You'll find someone there who can help you." "Rex," the Kitsune said, turning to him, "you must go find your jet. Go to the village where you stayed after it crashed. You will find it there." Rex nodded. "What about Karol's body?" Rex asked. "What do we do with it?" "Place it in a cave nearby from where you wake up," the Kitsune said calmly. "He will be safe there." "Remember," Kitsune said, raising her hands and floating back up into the air, "I will be with you always." Then a great flash of light appeared in front of them. They covered their eyes, and they were back in dreary reality. "Now what?" Rex asked. "We do as you told us," Esther replied. The two of them searched for the cave, and eventually they found it behind a couple of trees. There they picked up Karol's body and carried it to the cave. Rex sighed as they carried the body. "What's wrong?" Esther asked. "I forgot to ask her about the Malaxium." "It's okay," Esther replied. "I'm sure there was a reason you weren't able to ask her. Right now, however, we have to focus on the task at hand. Rex nodded in agreement. They set Karol down in the cave and they prepared to set off. "Okay," Rex said, pulling out his phone. "The harbor is directly west from here, about a mile away according to my GPS, and the village is 20 miles southeast." Then Rex put away his phone and pulled out his hang glider. "We should meet up back here," Esther advised. "All right," Rex said. Then the two set off, Rex going to the village on his rocket-boosted hang glider and Esther on foot to the harbor.